lines. Fire starter. Possible negligence.
Yes.
So if they're not maintaining the lines well, let us know, but we're following the plan.
If they file the plan.
We
that's
file
all
the
they have to
plan,
do.
and then, oh no, something happened. That just reminds me of PG up in NorCal.
Yeah. So that's the next one. Maybe you can mention that to your attitude.
So they were talking about
How's it going, everyone? This is Spencer with Stadia Dispatch. I'm here with Antoinette and Diane. And we're here today talking about what APS is doing in the scenic section of Village of Oak Creek, wanting to put in transmission lines, the really tall poles here, and the community is against it. So can you guys talk me through why you guys are against it?
Well, the poles are 65 feet tall with 6 lines strung between each pole. And there we are standing on the Red Rock Scenic Highway, which you can pan to later, but it is one of the most beautiful roads in the world, and we get 3 million visitors a year, and those lines are going to obstruct the view coming into Sedona on this designated Red Rock Scenic Highway. So that's one of the reasons we're here.
Now, the second, well, to me, one of the most important reasons is that it can cause fire. It's going through the National Forest through very high-risk fire areas. And they've got most of the project under the ground, but the last 2.5 miles is coming here, and it's going to land right over there. And that's 2.5 miles going through very high-risk areas. So we're deeply concerned because of climate change. It's accelerating. We're getting drier weather.
Wind.
And the wind's increasing. And as we've seen in the last couple years in California, some very devastating fires. And some places you never even thought you'd even be hit, like the Palisades.
And
So-
our legislature, the House, has it got through the House HB 2201 that they renamed it wildfire mitigation to make it more palatable.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is it would let the electrical utilities in the state off the hook if their equipment was responsible for a fire. This affects our homeowners insurance drastically.
Yes, and we're already seeing people with a homeowner insurance being dropped. So this is only going to accelerate that. And you have major insurance companies that are against this bill, HB 2201, that the Arizona House just passed. And the ones that are for it are all the electrical utility companies. So that tells you something right there. So
Yes, the insurance companies would not be able to go after the utilities to recover what they end up having to pay out for things like this, nor could we as residents sue the utilities.
Yeah.
So that's just
really
yeah,
problem.
really bad.
And the Big Park Council has been a big proponent behind fighting against this and want the lines fully buried. They have the studies, they have a lot more information on their website, and we're in the objections phase right now, and we have till the deadline March 3rd to file it on, well, before really March 3rd, because it's, I think they cut off.
The cutoff is March 3rd.
I think in the morning
Today, yes.
or the lunchtime.
So really by the end of the day today. Tomorrow. March 2nd is tomorrow.
Right, and I heard from APS the reason they actually want to put in the lines, the new line here, is because the community to the I can't remember the name of the town to the southeast of us.
McGuireville.
Yeah, McGuireville. Yeah, that's growing. So they to reinforce the grid. That's what they want to do. Otherwise, they're afraid of it tripping power and then knocking out to a community.
Now, I don't know how she feels about it, but I understand that. So just bury the last 2.5 miles. When you're burying 11 miles already, bury the most.
And
don't save our beautiful, iconic view and don't burn down this Sedona.
And the Big Park Community Council, they give other options where it could go underground without any issue. And also, APS has overinflated their cost. I think it was like $9 million a mile or something.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was like insane.
Thank you.
And I forgot what I was going to say.
I don't know, but I don't know where we were right now, but I mean,
it's a lot of money to bury. It's overinflated. They said you overinflated the costs for burying the lines. That's what you were mentioning.
If they can bury 11 miles, they can bury the last 2.5 miles. And one of the other thing was the data. The Big Park Council, who is our homeowners representatives for this, we are an unincorporated area of Sedona called the Village of Oak Creek. They did their own study that shows that our power outages, when we have them, are minimal. They're like minutes long.
Yeah, that was the other thing.
Go ahead.
Well, they're saying, basing on the data that they have, that they want to reduce outages. However, I've been here since 2019. I could count maybe 2-3 times there was an outage, and it was only for a few minutes. And so the Big Park Council has tried to get that data from APS, and they say it's proprietary. Now, come on. You've had to have gathered that data. And plus, it's old data. It's not the same as now, which we don't have that issue.
They did a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, with the Forest Service to try to get the data that the Forest Service has from APS, and they said it would take 12 to 18 months. They've really dragged their feet on getting that information, and we even enlisted the help of Mark Kelly, and we still have not been able to get the data.
I mean, it's crazy how slow that stuff works.
And a lot's changed since 2000. When did they start this? 2020, 21? The project, APS?
I think so. I don't know.
So, I mean, a lot's changed in 4 years, 5 years.
And, actually, and the big thing was the Forest Service said if you did not get in your objections by January of 2022, that you weren't allowed to put objections in after that date. Well, many people have moved, died, whatever, and many people have moved in who have not had an opportunity to do a formal objection because we weren't living here then. But now with some new information that we have, I think we're going to go for it and object.
Now, have you guys reached out to the Corporate Commission at all, who regulates APS?
I don't know. The Big Park Council may have.
They may have, I don't know.
Because that is another avenue where the Corporate Commission, I believe, looks over all the utilities, telecommunication providers, all that type of stuff. So that may be an avenue if you guys haven't taken that yet to look into. I know my folks who live up here, just full transparency, are very concerned about the high winds because where we're from is San Diego. Yeah. We've seen all of the wildfires in the past. You have all these giant lines that are going there, and just like what you guys mentioned about maintenance. Yeah. If they're not maintaining the lines, that sparks, you have a huge wildfire, it's bad news. So I do see where the residents saying, bury the last couple miles. You guys are already doing the whole thing. Now,
and they're going to pass the cost on to us anyway, so why not?
Yeah, so I mean, if they're already, so it sounds like you guys are fine with if they, let's just say, add a few more cents to the bill per usage just to get the lines buried. Is that a fair assessment?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That has been a big topic on Nextdoor. Charge us a few extra cents for the next whatever years. We'll gladly pay that to get those lines.
I mean, the cost of those lines is only a couple homes here in Sedona.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
They're lost.
Yeah. Plus, Plus, I don't know if you guys heard too, APS, SRP, and Tucson Electric Power are now looking at building another nuclear plant in the state. So I guess depending on where that goes, I don't know if they have any preliminary data on that, but let's just say they put it up in, northern Arizona as opposed to, southern Arizona or central Arizona. They're going to have to build more lines anyway. So it's just kind of like, I wonder, this is just me talking out loud here, I'm wondering if the execs kind of know where they want to put that, and that's why they're reinforcing in certain areas. That would be an interesting, information request.
In anything I read, I hadn't seen that, but yeah, I don't know.
All right.
It is slated to go where Cal Fox Trail is right now. Anybody can Google Cal Fox Trail. It goes right across here. It goes along the baseline of that mesa,
Yep.
and then through Saddlehorn. We are the first home that will get hit by the fire. And even though if we get hit, if that wall of homes, all the high winds come shooting right through that mesa, right between that Saddlehorn. They're like 80 miles an hour when the rest of the town is like 40.
And the winds blow from the southwest.
And they come that direction. So exactly where the power lines are, right here, this is our house. There's houses all along within, I think even just 50 yards of the proposed. We're about 300 yards. So they're going to be hit instantly, and if this line goes, the entire valley, look around this valley.
Yeah.
There's one road in, one road out.
Yep.
Everybody's going to get gridlocked here, and it is going to be Maui Palisades VOC.
And Paradise, yeah, recently in LA.
Palisades, it's exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to stop this. Why in this day and age, above ground, high voltage power lines known to cause fires, and a high wind chute with a row of houses that catch fires and becomes fuel, this entire place is going to go down in minutes. And it has to be corrupt because every objection has been overruled, not looked at. There was over 200 people at the last meeting. APS did not show up. The Forest Service did not show up. The fact that we're even talking about this 4 years later shows that there's something behind this, that they're not following the rules.
It's cheaper for them to put in those lines. That's why they want to do it that way, it sounds like.
But they're not following the rules. I mean, this is a scenic byway.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
I mean,
they got the scenic approval over there, but not over here.
Yeah. And this is where it's going to burn down a whole city.
Yeah.
And this is what's seen, and that is called Indian Lookout Mesa. And if you go to the top of that, which I do frequently, you can see every peak, every iconic mesa in the entire Sedona area, and that's why it's called Indian Lookout. So if any visitors, anyone is on any of those vantage points, they're going to see the power lines too. It's going to affect all of the tourism as well, all of the pictures.
Not to mention home values, I'd argue too.
Yeah.
Well, fire insurance.
Our
And fire insurance,
our
yeah.
property values, when this is our backyard and the EMFs, we're going to move. I think everyone along here, if you don't move, you're just waiting for suicide.
Yeah, I've actually read some of the articles about radiation from the electric lines like that, and that's why they have a setback for all those. I mean, same thing with like the cell towers up there. You don't want to be too close to those because they do emit radiation. There is what's known as a kill cone per se, where if you're within that range for a certain amount of time, you're going to have a decent radiation exposure. So, no, I 100% get it.
Aside from the fire danger, I mean, this is one of we're way higher risk fire danger than the Palisades or Maui was.
Yeah.
I live in Las Piedras, which is right there. And the pole that they want to put in and go up another 25 feet is literally 10 feet from the first house in North.
Yeah.
10 feet.
Exactly. All of them. And it's going to go right across. I mean, how this was even discussed with, and they also haven't proven that we even need it. That to me is the bottom line. All the studies saying, why do we need it? It's for overflow. We are at, we're fine at capacity. And if it's just overflow, why couldn't solar or electric or, a nice, something that's not going to cause disastrous circumstances be considered? They have not considered any of it.
Well, when the big park councils tried to get the data
Yeah, they're not sharing anything. So we know, and the only reason I could understand that, how is it still happening? A developer wants more electric capacity.
Down the hill, not here.
The minute those power lines are in, they can increase the power capability to the village, which is development cannot be stopped. Right now, development is kind of limited, keeping this as beautiful as it is because of the power restrictions.
And you're also surrounded by forestry.
Exactly. And that's why it's restricted, because we're a scenic byway, we're a international dark sky community, and we're an international tourist destination. And we're only asking 2.5 miles to be buried.
Yeah.
And
They're burying it on Beaverhead Flat Road where there's no houses.
Yes.
That can be burned down.
Yeah.
If they can bury it there, they can certainly bury it 10 feet.
And they have an
our
opportunity to
houses.
stop the fire there. The part that's going to be above ground is where there's no opportunity to stop the fire from burning down
And
this
it's a
entire
high
valley.
risk fire area.
Yeah.
And
Ha-
it's a high risk fire area. I mean, it's like, why we're even talking about this is insane.
It is.
Yeah.
And do you guys know if the fire department has spoke on this at all?
I'm not aware.
It is, because it's just Big Park, and Big Park is a small community and unincorporated, nobody has to know. I've been down to the fire ranger down here.
Yeah.
They didn't even know about it. Half the people don't know about it because Big Park is so small, because it's going on the land in Big Park, which is the only unincorporated area, which is just this. So even though this affects everybody, they're sneaking it through this small community because they can. Technically.
Yeah, and I just hope you guys can get this solved. I'm just all transparency, like I already mentioned. My folks live up here too, so everyone's against the
Well, I think this is
you know.
something like the governor needs to know. Our senators need to know, because it's going to be. Look what happened. Look at all the fingers are being pointed in Palisades to the governor.
Yep.
It's going to go up. If something happens here in Arizona's crown jewel, it's going to go up, and they're going to be answering questions, and they're going to find out that no one followed the rules and the people were ignored, and they went ahead and did it for some special interest. It's criminal.
Yep, that's unfortunately politics for you. So
Please send this to as many people as you can think, because we need help spreading the word.
And do you guys have like a website or anything or you guys just mainly post on Nextdoor for this?
Next door, and then there's the Big Park Council website. They've got a lot of information on there too.
That is a lot of really good information, and the
Yeah.
next door.
And also, they have a link to submit the objection letter, which the deadline really technically should be in by the 2nd, tomorrow.
Yeah. So they haven't given people enough time. We keep thinking that it's been done because they have proof that it's not needed. They haven't abided by anything, and then suddenly everything's due by this day or it's a done deal.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not a done. I think that it's not a done deal. I mean, this is your last chance to write an objection.
An objection,
Yeah.
Based on new information.
information.
And there's all that information is on the Big Park site.
Yeah.
And
Which they
on
give
Diane
examples.
posted it.
Yeah.
Right. And so after this, if they still say, the Forest Service says, we still give our approval, then you got to get off the sidewalk. Then they're going to sue. The Big Park Council is suing.
Okay, so that's what the fund, all that money
Yes.
they raise money
Yes.
for? Okay.
Yes. And so, so obviously we can continue to protest after. If it's,
And we will.
Sounds like a plan, guys. Well, hey, I appreciate the information about what's going on. I wish you all the best of luck, and let's really hope they bury those underground lines because we don't want the fire.
Thank you.
Thank you for caring.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys.